Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for the commitment that you have shown. And if you are new, I also welcome you. Thank you for creating time to watch this video. I urge you to subscribe, urge you to drop a comment and also hit the notification button so that whenever I upload a video, you will be notified. And I promise you that the content that you will always find on a regular basis on this channel will be nourishing to you, especially if you have particular interest in personal development, leadership, and life management. My name is Kpamor Suleh, and today I'm here to give you a leadership talk that I've titled How to Be an Effective Leader. How to be an effective leader. The desire and quest to be effective at leadership is a desire of everyone that finds himself in leadership. While many commit themselves to learning what it means to lead effectively and committing themselves to what they have learned, others fail to do that. And the consequence of that failure is bad leadership. I am here to teach you how you can succeed and lead effectively. Leadership can actually be deployed in 4 different directions. One is when you deploy your leadership upward, and that's a situation where you lead those who are higher than you in leadership ranking by influencing them to achieve a task. Maybe not directly, but just them watching how you do your leadership. In that way, you also influence them. Now, the second is when you lead those who are on the same leadership ranking with you. And the third is when you lead those who are lower than you in leadership ranking. The last, which I consider the most important, and actually the reason for which I'm here on this video, is when you lead yourself. Now, that leadership direction is popularly known as self-leadership. Self-leadership is when you have a developed sense of who you are, what you can do, where you are going to, coupled with your ability to influence your communication, influence your emotions, and your behavior towards your leadership direction. So when you have a developed sense of who you are, what you can do, where you're going to, and that sense is coupled with your ability to influence your communication, your emotions, and your behavior towards your leadership direction, then you can be considered to be someone who is well self-led. You will agree with me that many people, because of their inability to influence their communication, their inability to influence their emotions and behavior in the leadership space, they have acted in ways that dented their leadership deployment. Many people have stepped forward at the leadership, public leadership space when they have not really developed themselves. And this action is not common to our time. It happened even in the time of Jesus, and that was why he was baffled and asked a question in Matthew chapter 15 and verse 14. Why do you step forward to remove the mote that is in your brother's eye when you have not successfully removed the beam that is in your eye? And that statement, if applied to leadership, depicts that the essential component of leadership that places one on high effectiveness in leadership is when you concentrate on dealing with the problem that is in you. Who is the leader? So if you have actually led yourself properly, then you can better be able to lead those who you have been called to lead. But if you fail at leading yourself properly, then there is no way you can succeed in leading others. Now, he also said something in Matthew chapter 7 verse 3 concerning leadership. And he said, if the blind lead the blind, then both of them will fall into a ditch. Now, these people fell into a ditch not because the ditch was present. And that's why I don't believe it when people blame circumstances and blame systems for their failure in leadership. These people fell into a ditch simply because their leader was blind. And so if you fail in leadership, you failed not because the system made you to fail, or the circumstances made you to fail. You failed because you were simply blind. You failed because you had not successfully led yourself. If you successfully lead yourself, irrespective of the deplorable state of the system, irrespective of the circumstances that you find yourself in, you will be a highly effective person. Now, we also have a parable in the book of Judges chapter 9 that tells us a lot about leadership. Now, this parable speaks of how trees were seeking leadership, and they went to a vine, went to a fig tree, and also went to an olive tree seeking leadership, and all of these trees declined. And then they went to a bramble and sought that the bramble should be a leader over them. And the bramble gladly and proudly accepted to be a leader. Now, if you know what a bramble is, you will know that a bramble is a plant that has so many rough edges. And so instead of this bramble to settle down and work on its nature, lead itself, and be able to successfully be a self-led person before seeking to lead the other trees, it never did that. It just went ahead and accepted leadership, and then called the trees to find shadow under it. Now, this is how many people step forward without having developed themselves, without having had a developed sense of who they are, what they can do, and where they are going to, and without successfully influencing their communications, emotions, and behavior. They just jump up to the public arena and accept leadership. The consequence of that action has been nations and families and organizations that have been under the burden of very bad or poor leadership. Now, what I'm here to tell you is that if you seek to be a highly effective leader, then the only step that will secure that path for you is for you to settle down and be a highly effective self-leader. If you can lead yourself well, then I can assure you that irrespective of where you find yourself, irrespective of the system where you find yourself, irrespective of the circumstances where you find yourself, you will actually excel at your leadership. But how then can you learn to be a well self-leader? I will teach you that in my next video, which will be published next week, on how you can improve your self-leadership. Thank you very much for this time. And please remember to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Drop a comment on this video how I can serve you better, and also hit the notification button so that each time I upload a video, you will be notified. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. GMT +1. God bless you.